When we're living alone, and now more and more people are working remotely alone, we're not even brushing up against people anymore.
The growing epidemic sweeping the nation that some doctors say is as bad for you as smoking.
Why is loneliness and social isolation such a problem today? We've really designed community right out of our lives.
More and more people are missing that connection.
Relationships is what really gives life meaning.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
Yes.
Yeah, check that out. Huh. You can learn so much from children.
Then for Mama. I tried.
We have been here, it'll be coming up on 3 years. Before moving here, I mean, we had a pretty typical setup at home. We didn't really know our neighbors. Our community was through work or through activities, but not a lot of neighborhood connections going on, almost none.
We shared dinner at each other's houses a couple times, but it didn't go anywhere because we all had the expectation that our lives were separate.
Yeah, I think it's hard to make community happen when you have the single family home set up, like the expectations of that kind of neighborhood.
Mommy.
I got interested in co-housing originally because I saw it as a solution to my life. I was an architecture student in Denmark, looking at how do you have a family and a kid and a profession. And the old models weren't working. So as part of our class's study of housing types, we visited a number of co-housing communities. And I was like, wow, this seems like so reasonable. The physical design is really something that you could duplicate pretty easily. The cars are at the periphery, and then you walk in. And the spaces between the houses are people-oriented. They're gardens, the kids are playing, you're talking to neighbors. The turning point for me was realizing that the Danish model was something that could be adapted to the United States because, for better or worse, it's a home ownership model. We didn't have to change American policy. We didn't have to create a new federal housing program. It was people coming together, building villages. It's like, well, we could do that.
Yeah. Taking the track.
Yeah. Hey, Oakland, how are you today? So we really manage the community, right? We don't have a property manager. We're doing it. We're actually creating that space in between where people run into each other. And it really is true that community happens on the pathways. All sorts of magical things happen out there.
It's like community living, but very palatable to like my American upbringing where we each have our own kitchens and our own houses and there's no cars on the inside and everybody lives right next to each other, but not too close. It's just a perfect fit for me.
Okay.
Oh, so high. It looks like it's above the clouds. You're not gonna eat that one? It's been really lovely. It's transformative to me. That's not what I had growing up. When things are harder, that's when you need the contact most. And that's when I need the contact most, is when I'm feeling low. And if I have friends I have here will notice when I'm not feeling well. And so it's like an instant safety net. I hadn't thought about that before, that some of my isolation as a kid has translated into this choice now.
I don't know that I thought a lot about community and the importance of community until I tried to picture having a family and what that was going to look like.
I think that's called a wire.
One of the many things I love about thinking about June growing up here is that she won't just have us as role models. She will have many adults in her life, and when we screw up, she will have aunties and uncles and other grandparents to like help her through hard times that maybe we're not as well equipped to help her through.
It is always exciting.
You know, college, your social life is huge. You move off campus, it's still huge. You're around a bunch of people your age. And then you move into a house somewhere, it's a lot harder to make friends, especially not right next to you. And then you hear about co-housing or something like that, and you'll know everybody within, like your radius right there, 100 yards. And you're guaranteed to know them.
We've been convinced that we should buy as big a house as we can afford because it's a better investment, or that's the American dream. But I think people are surprised when they get the American dream, they can afford the American dream, how unsatisfying it can be. We're not facing the reality of who America is today. You know, it's hard to find a new single-family house that's less than 2,000 square feet. But the fastest growing American household is a single person living alone at all ages, at every generation. And the whole world is going this direction. So the demographic issues that Americans are facing are actually worldwide. We've really designed sort of social connection out of our lives.
I've definitely experienced like isolation, especially during COVID. Most of my friends live out in the woods where there's no one for miles. They don't even see another person until they go to school or work or come into town. I mean, a lot of kids just don't have any close interactions, even in their home, or feel like most of their interactions are fake or just online and don't really go below the surface.
I've been involved in the Harvard Study of Adult Development now for 20 years, and there's a really simple conclusion that we've drawn from all that research. Relationships keep us happier and healthier throughout the lifespan. Co-housing is one kind of extreme example of trying to get people together in an intentional way to build a community. But I think what that makes clear is that we're at a point where people are beginning to recognize the importance of social connection in their life, and they're searching for it. Loneliness, that perception that I'm alone, is tied to physical health problems. And the actual risk associated with loneliness is on the same order as smoking 15 cigarettes a day or being obese. So this is a major public health problem, but there's a lot of attention being put into thinking about solutions. And there are clever ideas happening all around the world.
Sällbo is actually a combination of two words in Swedish, which is sällskap and boende, which means common living, Sällbo, sällskapsboende. That's the uniqueness of Sällbo, that we are not trying to find homogenic demography in the house. We are, on the contrary, trying to find so different people as possible. We wanted to show that even though you would never dream to share or to live nearby people that are so different from you, it can go well and you can have an even more interesting life than otherwise. Oi! This is the silversmith I was talking about.
I'm a captain, sea captain. Yeah. But now I'm a silversmith.
I lived in like a student dorm before, and then I moved to like my own apartment. It was so lonely and so boring. So I found this place, and it's super, super fun. So I'll always have like people around and so on. Super fun. I've been sitting with this for like 3 weeks.
Wow. Has anyone helped you out?
It's me and Lone.
Ah, Lone, she's really good at doing puzzles.
We met here at Sällbo, and we were neighbors, and then we started hanging out more. I don't think we would have met if we had not moved to Sällbo.
The oldest communities are now over 30 years old. And we've seen they do sustain themselves, that they do attract new people coming in at all different ages. There's about 180 co-housing communities across the United States today. There's growing numbers of co-housing communities in Canada, in England, in the Netherlands, and Denmark. They continue to grow. The number one thing I was after was proving there were people who wanted this. And I feel like that's what we have really proven over these last 30 years. So now the discussion is, how can we make it more diverse economically, more diverse racially and culturally? What's possible out there? It's not for everybody, but people do live longer when they're not isolated. We need to be very deliberate about the relationships we build and invest time in those. It's not going to happen without deliberate efforts. That's what we have found out, right? It used to happen naturally, but it doesn't happen naturally in most places today. If you don't know who your neighbors are, you don't have any place to start.